Are you certain that the coffee you have each morning is authentic? No chemicals, no fillers, no marketing gimmicks. The reality is surprising, even though it seems obvious. It may surprise you to learn that many coffee products available in the United States are not as pure as you may believe. Some employ artificial flavoring, some are combined with filler powders, and some batches have even been recalled due to glass pieces. Numerous companies have been found to deceive consumers by using terms like decaf Colombian or 100% pure on their labels without being honest about what is actually in them. Because you have no idea what you might be paying for, don't let the rapidly rising cost of coffee force you to settle for inferior goods. The dark side of the industrial coffee industry, where low prices frequently come with unstated health dangers, will be shown in this film. It might be time to look again if you still think all of the coffee that is sold in the store is safe. Let's examine 7 coffee varieties that you should stay away from if you genuinely care about your health and about being truthful about what you eat. But before we go right in, if you're worried about your health, click the subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this is where we share the facts that no one talks about. And if you're with me, please let me know. In the comment field, put 1 if you're currently viewing and this video speaks to you. Type 0 otherwise. You are unaware of the significance of your voice. 1. Kirkland Signature Colombian Coffee. Have you ever purchased coffee based only on the label's mention of Colombian and thought it must be good? You're not by yourself. For the simple reason that the word Colombian conjures up visions of high mountain Arabica, beans, hand-picked harvests, and a clear, robust flavor. Countless consumers have trusted this coffee from Kirkland Costco's own brand. But wait a moment. Consider it. Have you ever noticed that the scent seems a little strange when you open the bag? Some say it smells like coffee with a strangely manufactured quality or a slight burnt fragrance. Furthermore, these are not only sporadic, isolated viewpoints. The same comments keep coming up on forums where middle-aged coffee drinkers who have been drinking for a long time start to ask, is something wrong? We investigated the components and manufacturing procedure. The first warning sign is the ambiguity surrounding the precise proportion of Arabica, the roasting process, and most importantly, the usage of chemicals. As many experienced coffee lovers are aware, Kirkland's claim that this coffee is 100% Colombian does not guarantee that it is 100% pure if post-roast treatments or artificial fragrance are not mentioned. Some batches of Kirkland's famous Colombian coffee had artificial flavoring, which is frequently used to make coffee smell fresh or to cover up the burnt notes from over-roasting, according to an independent taste and fragrance analysis conducted in the middle of 2025. The worst part is still to come. The label makes no mention of such at all. So why would a large, well-funded company like Kirkland, with extensive supply chains, turn to this kind of behavior? Is the goal to reduce expenses without sacrificing that high-end image? Or have customers forgotten the true scent of coffee because they are so accustomed to manufactured scents? Kirkland's famous Colombian isn't necessarily healthy just because you drink it every day and feel fine. The real concern is, do you really know what you're drinking? We're not claiming that this coffee will make you sick overnight. Using a cheap cup could result in the gradual accumulation of undesirable substances in your body. Regarding a product that millions of people rely on every day, do you believe it might be concealing anything the maker isn't telling you? The decision is yours. We are merely outlining the facts. Clover Valley instant coffee comes in second. Have you observed that Americans are increasingly selecting instant coffee due to its affordability, convenience, and perceived safety? The tale of Dollar General's private label coffee brand, Clover Valley, may cause you to reconsider. Early in 2025, the Food and Drug Administration declared an urgent recall of instant coffee from Clover Valley. Why? It might have glass fragments in it. Yes, you read correctly. Broken glass. This is not a small mistake. You could swallow something that belongs in a lab, not in your breakfast cup, due to this type of hazard. Of particular, 3 production batches, designated L5163, L5164, and L5165, with expiration dates of December 2026, were found to be possibly contaminated. These goods were extensively dispersed among the 48 states. The actual mystery is how glass gets into a coffee jar that is sitting on store shelves across America, even if no injuries have been officially reported. This type of catastrophe may seem to occur only in small factories or with unregulated items. Not at all. The retail behemoth Dollar General, which has more than 19,000 locations across the country, owns the Clover Valley brand. Does that sound familiar? While filling up with gas, you grab a jar of instant coffee, head straight to work, and quickly brew a cup at the office. What might be concealed within those dark granules, however, is not visible. Nobody can ensure that the jar you purchased isn't among the batches that were recalled. Every morning, no one is watching you stir every spoonful into your mug. The hard question of whether the low price is worth the unacceptable danger is something that only you can ask. This example is particularly concerning because of what it indicates, not just the occurrence itself. When anything like this could reach the market, where was the quality control? Were the requirements loosened because the coffee only costs a few dollars? Was it because consumers of low-cost goods are thought to ignore, forget, or just not care? If it were present in the coffee you drink every day, would you accept that chance? You already know who should respond to that query. 3. Great Value Classic. Roast. Have you ever puzzled why certain coffee bags are only a few dollars, although the label states that the coffee is 100% coffee? And if it's really 100%, what precisely is 100%? We made the decision to learn more about Walmart's bargain brand, Coffee's Great Value Classic Roast. It sells millions of units annually and may be found on the shelves of practically any store. For many consumers, particularly middle-class and senior citizens, it's a well-known option that's affordable and appears to be satisfactory. However, there is something unnerving when you remove that outer covering. The origin of the beans, the type of coffee, the roast profile, and any significant quality assurances are all essentially unknown. All you get are ambiguous terms like mixed medium roast or classic flavor, even if you attempt searching for specifics on the manufacturer's website or Walmart's website. Nice-sounding words that don't actually reveal anything tangible. Great Value Classic Roast was one of the goods with the greatest amounts of coarse grinds and non-coffee filler material out of over 30 brands examined in a study released by a commodity standards research firm in New Jersey. Even while the real coffee content was shockingly low, the same investigation pointed out that its flavor profile was enhanced with artificial additions to produce a greater taste. You weren't imagining it if you've ever tried this coffee and found it to be rather bland yet strangely potent. Instead of a large proportion of high-quality coffee beans as you might anticipate, it is the consequence of a well-designed blend of industrial caffeine fillers and flavoring chemicals. The true question is not whether this coffee is unhealthy, but rather whether it is actually coffee as you believe. The concerning thing is that none of this is disclosed to customers. The label reads, "No contains additives." Disclosure of alternative mixes is not included. Just a cheap price tag and a pretty box. When buyers never ask, you might wonder why you should be honest with them. And what else would companies be prepared to compromise on in order to save a few pennies if they can take similar shortcuts with coffee? Do you still think the inexpensive cup of coffee is a good bargain, or are you beginning to wonder what that great value package actually contains? 4. Folgers Classic. Roast increased cancer risk, nerve damage, and hormonal disruption. These aren't hyperbolic claims from a health group. Rather, they are scientific discoveries linked to acrylamide, a substance present in a variety of foods and, more concerningly, in some well-known American coffees, including Folgers Classic Roast. This substance is not an external addition. Rather, it develops spontaneously at high temperatures during roasting, particularly when beans are roasted very dark to produce the striking color and smoky flavor that so many people are accustomed to. The issue is that acrylamide becomes dangerous once its levels beyond a safe threshold. Acrylamide can cause cancer in animals, according to research from the FDA and the National Cancer Institute. Despite the lack of conclusive evidence about its complete impact on people, food safety authorities around the world concur that it should be minimized in our regular meals. Therefore, why do certain brands still have acrylamide levels that are high enough to cause concern? In America, Folgers Classic Roast is among the most popular ground coffees. However, due to how darkly it is roasted, several of its production batches have been reported by independent labs to contain acrylamide levels that are significantly greater than those of many high-end brands. Those reports are readily available, but here's the odd thing. There are no usage instructions, warnings, or explicit disclosures regarding the acrylamide content on the product's package. As a result, customers think they are just purchasing robust, flavorful, conventional coffee, but they are actually consuming a substance that may cause cancer on a daily basis without even recognizing it. This has nothing to do with disparaging or endangering a well-known brand like Folgers. The true problem lies in marketing's lack of transparency and disrespect for consumers' safety. Even though this product is used in millions of homes every day and is found on every grocery store shelf, scientists continue to disagree over it. Out of habit, will you continue to purchase it, or will you begin to question what's actually in that cup that they're keeping you in the dark about? 5. Traverse City Cherry Decaf Ground. Coffee. Did you know that persons with heart disease, high blood pressure, or anxiety problems may be seriously at risk from caffeine, even though it's a commonplace part of daily life? Consuming it in a product that is labeled decaf, that is, without any caffeine, makes it considerably riskier. Many consumers were left in disbelief when Traverse City Cherry Decaf Ground Coffee, a product from the Our Family brand, did just that. Why? Due to the fact that although this coffee was marketed as decaffeinated, it nevertheless contained caffeine. This was no small mistake. It was the kind of error that could land cardiac patients in the hospital right away. How does a product designed for consumers who must avoid caffeine in particular overlook such an important detail? Early in 2025, the recall was made public when it was found that multiple batches of illegally decaffeinated products had already been sold in over 15 states. People were actually consuming the precise drug they were seeking to avoid when they believed they were drinking a safer form of coffee. Imagine that you are in your middle years trying to control your blood pressure, and that your serene daily coffee habit is Traverse City Cherry Decaf. One day, you discover that your body has been receiving a caffeine boost every morning for weeks or even months. What thoughts would cross your mind? A careless lapse in quality control or a trivial oversight? Even worse, not every consumer received timely notice. Some people just learned about it after coming across a news article or on social media. That demonstrates one thing. No one will give you the truth if you don't deliberately seek it out. How recently have you truly read the ingredients list? What else would producers be ready to forego in the hopes that customers won't notice if even decaf products can't be relied upon to live true to their name? Caffeine doesn't affect everyone equally, but for people receiving medical care, it could be the difference between stability and danger. Do you believe that a mistake like that is acceptable, simply because the product is known, inexpensive, and easy to locate? 6th, before making your next cup of coffee, you might want to listen to this if you use coffee pods for convenience every day. Taste isn't the point here. It has nothing to do with caffeine. It has to do with the ink that was printed on those pods' foil lids. Yes, New Mexico Piñon coffee. For years, people have enjoyed the distinct taste of coffee blended with native piñon nuts, especially the dark piñon line designed for Keurig machines. However, many who pay close attention to food safety reports have recently begun to pose a significant query. What specifically could be leaking into your morning coffee from these pods? Thin aluminum covers with printed ink to indicate the flavor are used on many coffee pods, not just this type. The issue is that some industrial inks used on packaging aren't made to withstand coming into contact with water that's hotter than 194 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also the ideal temperature for brewing coffee makers. According to independent testing, even very little amounts of the ink on dark piñon pod caps may seep into the coffee after it has been brewed. But do those minuscule amounts of coffee remain minuscule if you drink it daily, weekly, or monthly? Many of the solvents, stabilizers, and coloring compounds found in industrial inks lack conclusive proof that they are safe for human consumption. Unfortunately, neither the manufacturer nor the dealers have issued a formal warning. You may believe that you are sipping a handcrafted cup of New Mexico Piñon coffee, but it's possible that each cup contains a chemical concoction that nobody discusses because of the printed lid. Is the manufacturer aware? Maybe, or perhaps they think the word, which frequently postpones change in the food business, is not significant enough to warrant action. The question is now, if no one has yet displayed overt symptoms of poisoning, are you willing to take a silent risk? Or do you establish boundaries for yourself before others do? Keep in mind that something is not always safe just because it is on a store shelf. 7. Yuban traditional roast coffee. Have you ever had the impression that the product you're paying for isn't what it used to be? In the past, Yuban was considered the pinnacle of authentic American coffee. Full-bodied flavor, rich scent, and that genuine vintage vibe. However, if you have a keen sense of taste these days, you may have already detected a difference in flavor. Regretfully, it goes beyond simply your taste receptors getting older. Yuban traditional roast coffee's packaging still boldly displays the words 100% pure coffee. However, if you look more closely, you'll see that it no longer just employs high-quality Arabica beans. In addition to artificial flavoring added after processing, a sizable amount has been replaced with less expensive Robusta beans. Why is it problematic to transition from Arabica to Robusta? Because Robusta is frequently used in industrial coffee blends to save money despite its greater bitterness. Yes, it has more caffeine, but it also has more chlorogenic acid, a substance that can upset the stomach and make people with sensitive digestive systems or elderly drinkers uncomfortable. And that's not all. The business has resorted to artificial flavorings to compensate for the flavor that was lost when the bean ratio was altered, something that wasn't made explicit on the packaging. This is the reason why so many loyal consumers feel deceived. Are the memories and the decades-long trust the reason you're purchasing this coffee? You're not by yourself if so. Yuban no longer tastes authentic, according to many who have supported it for years. The fact that the label has no indication that the recipe has altered is concerning. No notification, no warning, no justification. There is only one indisputable fact. Yuban's name is still present, but what's inside is different from what you recall. Is it still respectful when a legacy brand makes changes without informing its customers? For nostalgic reasons, will you continue to purchase it? Or will you begin to question whether you have a right to know more about the beverages you consume on a daily basis? Some people are too busy to read every word on a package. You may steer clear of things that make you feel misled, unappreciated, or worse with a little initiative, even though not all manufacturers are keen to be upfront. Compelled to exchange your health for a small profit. Although you have no control over the market as a whole, you do have power over your options. Let's start by taking a deeper look at your coffee in the morning, depending on societal trends, popular opinion, and current events. We adhere strictly to all federal laws, including the U.S. Constitution. If you have any thoughts about today, please leave a comment so that we may continue the discussion. To ensure you don't miss our next unbiased in-depth analysis, remember to press the bell, like, and subscribe.